What's going on, guys? This is Bobby Douglas, and this is just part 2 of the Jaden Springer full game breakdown against Missouri. Obviously, we're starting this half a little bit later because he does come off the bench early in the year. So let's get right into it. He's going to be number 11 in the orange if you guys didn't watch part 1. And here we go. So you can see Keon Johnson bringing the ball off the floor for Tennessee. Obviously, we did a breakdown on him. They wanted to run a lob play straight out of there. The second he got in on the floor, didn't connect on that though. This second half will be a slog for Tennessee offensively. Obviously the game's pretty much out of reach for Missouri just because of the way both teams play, which is kind of just like slow and then overall just not super gifted offensively. So this game won't really get that close. But this is just. Be warned, this is, we're not watching it for the entertainment value of the game. We're watching it for Jaden Springer. Just keep that in mind because you guys are going to need to if you want to watch this entire video. Just FYI, I'm going to get it out there now. Let's see, Jaden Springer on the right wing. He's going to relocate to the top of the key. Not much going on. We got a foul here, so I'll skip ahead. Looks like we had a, non-shooting foul. Springer kind of coming off that screen by Yves Pons. We got something else. Just wasteland SEC. We've been here before. And here we go. We got Springer in a ball screen. Again, not super comfortable operating out of ball screens, I don't think. Doesn't really have that explosion that you want to see from a guy who can be like a lead creator. Definitely more suited off the ball. But again, he does show flashes of passing vision right here. Able to get to his spot and then kind of give a nice dish to Fulkerson. He just can't make the little runner. But Josiah Jordan James is there to put that back in. He shows flashes of passing vision, but again, definitely not a guy who's going to be your point guard. Much more suited for an off-ball role. I wouldn't even say he's like a secondary creator. Maybe he's one of many, as he does a really nice defensive slide right there. And again, it looks like we're going to get an offensive foul. Yeah, this is an awesome defensive sequence from Springer. And again, this is the main appeal with him, right? It's his defense, not his offense. The defense is what's going to get him on the floor early in his career. Right here, really nice job sliding with Mark Smith, right? Just walling up, chest into him, right? And he's actually going to get this offensive foul without having to fall down, right? Really impressive stuff from Jaden Springer right there. And, it's the defense that's going to translate immediately. The offense, if it comes along, don't really see him being a major contributor on that end. That's just my personal, prediction and view. But, yeah, that'll be kind of just like the overall thing with Jaden Springer, as Yves Pons is going to dunk that for an easy deuce. Again, I mentioned in the first half video, it's very Avery Bradley-like, somebody who you want to be able to just kind of knock down a catch-and-shoot three. Doesn't really have to create a whole lot for himself, and then obviously he's going to play great perimeter defense on the other end. We got a media timeout here, so we'll skip ahead. We will continue to skip ahead. And here we go. See where Springer's at. He's kind of in that tweener spot on the right wing. And again, you can see Tennessee. One of the issues with Tennessee is just like a team last year is that they didn't really have a true point guard. When he was in, Santi Vescovi was kind of their guy. But I really kind of think he's better suited off the ball. And then Keon Johnson, obviously, he has his struggles as we've been over. And then Jaden Springer as well just really isn't suited to run the point. So that's kind of where I think a lot of this Tennessee team kind of just went to shit. Probably the worst 5 seed in the NCAA tournament that I can think of, just in terms of like the quality of basketball they played. You can see Jaden Springer right there. Really nice job. He's a little bit late here, but I think it's going to be an offensive foul. But just watch the hustle he gives. So he's going to get screened off the ball. It's like this flex screen, right? And now he has to chase, right? And so he's a little bit late getting around this screen, but just watch the hustle. Doesn't give up on the play, and then he ultimately draws this offensive foul with the illegal screen on number 5 for Missouri. And that he's a guy that's just not going to give up defensively. Again, embraces the challenge of guarding the other team's best player, whether it be chasing shooters around screens, whether it be trying to wall up a bigger defender in the post. Jaden Springer will welcome everything that you throw at him, and I think that's something that is very important to have in the NBA. He's a guy that's mentally tough. He's resilient, not going to back down from a challenge, and I think that's a very, very key mindset to have as he enters the NBA. We got, let's see what we got here. Again, a little bit caught up on that back screen, but looks like Tennessee is going to get the ball back here. I don't know what happened here. Oh, this was just like a quick turnover, I think. Keon just lasered that pass to Josiah Jordan-James. So not much going on there. And here we go. Again, you can see Tennessee going to that 1-3-1 press, and you can see right here Springer's actually going to get a deflection. Again, just a nice job kind of reading the passing lanes, reading to the Pinson's eyes. He's going to get that deflection with the right or with the left hand, but it leads to a basket. But overall, I like the activity. And again, he's a guy that's totally locked in off the ball. Can sometimes get caught ball watching, but that's really rare, I would say. And when he does get caught ball watching, it's never a detrimental error, and he's always very quick to recover. He won't zone out, you know what I mean? Just kind of very locked in and focused. That's something that a lot of NBA teams will desperately want. Just this guy to bolster the backcourt, defensively especially, and hopefully he grows into something offensively. And again, we mentioned it in the first half, just like the numbers are a lot prettier than the actual eye test, which I think it's funny because a lot of times it's the opposite, where like the eye test maybe looks good, but then sometimes the numbers just don't really back it up. With Springer, it's the opposite. He was a 47, 43, 81 shooting split, so that's field goals, 3-point free throws. And he doesn't really play like that, as he's going to get that steal right here, and then he's going to draw that foul on the break. The shot looks a little bit clunky, doesn't really create well for himself. So yeah, it's just kind of interesting to see the two sides of Jaden Springer, just in terms of the numbers and the eye test, as he's going to kind of come off that flex screen, and then he's going to be back here on the wing. Again, this is another good pass, and he's showing some of that vision right here, taking advantage of the space that he's given. I think he needs to do a little bit more of this and get a little bit more comfortable doing that. But you can see right here, 2-dribble handle, and again, just another one of these jump stop things, right? He's so just wedded to these jump stops in the lane. I don't really understand it. Luckily, Keon Johnson's going to kind of do that little backdoor, because I don't think Springer could have had anything going for him in terms of a shot. Keon just can't get that layup to go. But overall, decent play from Springer. It's just like, I feel like with that jump stop and always having to go off of 2 feet, it just kills his momentum to the point where it just kind of makes him not a non-threat, but just way less of a threat rather than if he were just more dynamic with his handle, had a more diverse array of finishing moves. So we got another offensive foul here. But yeah, that's just kind of where you kind of look at him and you're just kind of like, okay, doesn't play with the greatest pace, and oh my god, they had him on the back. They had him on that UCLA screen. Holy shit, Tennessee! This is what I mean. Hello, get this pass there. Come on. This was that's Tennessee basketball in a nutshell. Actually, I'm going to get this screenshot right. Right here. This is Tennessee basketball in a nutshell this past season, right? They seemingly have everything figured out, or just all the pieces to work with something, and then they just don't execute for whatever reason. This right here is Tennessee basketball. Now just let that sink in for a second, and now we can continue. Just one of the more frustrating teams in America this past season in college basketball. I told you my story in the first half, how there was I watched this game and I saw how dominant they were defensively, and I was just like, yep, this team is Final Four good. And then they just never really did anything after this game. This might have been the highlight of your season, honestly. But yeah. And we got a Missouri missed 3, and Tennessee's going to run the break, 1-on-3, pull up for that mid-range jumper. Oh, they made it. That's Victor Bailey Jr. I liked him at Tennessee this past year, too, as we got looks like a deflection. And here we go. Yes. Yeah, here we go. So again, Springer on Pinson. Pinson's obviously one of the better driving guards in the SEC. I think he transferred to LSU. And you can see right here, just kind of just the little things, right? So a lot of guys in Jaden Springer's situation, he's obviously guarding a bigger and stronger player, right? A lot of guys would just give up. Springer's kind of battling, right? He's making life difficult on the catch, getting his arms active in there, and he doesn't force that miss, but he makes life more difficult for bigger defenders or bigger opponents, right? And I think that's something that kind of goes unnoticed, but is definitely valuable, just from a grinded out every possession type of standpoint. He's definitely going to be a guy who gives you 100% all the time. And yeah, just things like that, little things, but important things if you want to build a winning basketball team. We got Springer coming off that flex cut again, and it's going to be another deflection out of bounds, Tennessee ball. Springer's going to set that screen, come off. Let's see what he does here. And again, so he's comfortable going to this post up, right? But again, like this time he kind of has to go off of 2 feet, right? But again, like just kind of like that quick hop step. I don't know if you guys can necessarily see it, but I want to kind of replay it and slow it down. Actually, can I slow it down? I might be able to, actually. Okay, let's see. So I'm going to go to playback speed, and I'm going to do 0.75, okay? Now just watch his overall footwork here, okay? So he's backing down, right? And then right here, instead of kind of like going 1-2, right, he's going to do this quick little hop step, and that erases all of his momentum going up and going forward. So what's the result? It's a blocked shot, right? And ultimately, you know, a missed opportunity for Tennessee. So again, like in order for him to be a more effective driver, he needs to get that in order where he can kind of, you know, diversify his overall scoring attack. Because it's just getting so predictable to this point where it's too easy for other teams to defend him, you know? And again, we haven't really seen him get open for a 3-point shot. He's not a guy that can really shoot comfortably off the catch. We'll see him right here. Or off of movement, I should say. So let's watch his 3-point shot. Again, this is where he needs to shine. Like off the catch, just kind of being able to knock down open threes as they are presented to him. And again, 43.5%. The percentages don't match the eye test. And again, you can see it's just a little long. He releases it basically with straight arms, and I think that's kind of concerning. You know, only 46 3-point attempts this year. Not going to blame him for that entirely, just because Tennessee's spacing all year was totally fucked. But again, like, how reliable is that 43%? We don't know, right? He hits that three, good for him. And if he could do that at the NBA level, that's obviously making him such a more valuable prospect. But, you know, it's just kind of the jury I think, is still out with that jump shot. But as I was saying, just like you know, because of like just how his feet work right now, where he just needs to take like that hop step, right? You know, and just the elongated overall release of his jump shot. Like, it's very difficult for me to see him as kind of like a guy that can come off of screens and hit, like, knockdown pull-up jumpers or just off-the-catch jumpers off of movement, right? Very much a standstill shooter, and then, you know, with that, even he still has issues just because of how long it is. He's not a guy that he can break you down off the dribble and try and create space on his own. He needs a ball screen like he's going to get right here. Good job from Pinson going over that, not really giving Springer any room to operate. But, yeah, like, just kind of like, he doesn't seem to, for me personally, he doesn't really offer a whole lot offensively right now. You know, he's a smart basketball player overall. That's clear on the defensive end. But offensively, he's just working out so many issues with his game. And so, yeah, that's kind of just like the breakdown. We saw that 3-point shot go in. Obviously good for him. He shot very well. Right there, miscommunication defensively with Fulkerson and Springer. But didn't really hurt them on that end of the floor, just kind of on the opposite end. And here we go. We got Springer, right wing, going to kind of cut along this baseline here. And here we go. He's going to come off this pin down. Not much going on. And again, Tennessee, like, I don't know what it was. Like, they just struggled to get good shots, you know? Like, so many possessions would end in a shot like that with, like, their 8th man into rotation taking a turnaround, like, 12-footer, right? And I think that was kind of just part of the issues. We got a foul here and one. No. And I believe Springer is actually out for a little bit right here, so I'll skip ahead. And then he's in for about 10 minutes of YouTube time, and then this video is over. I think he comes out with like 3 minutes left just because this game is pretty much a blowout. So we got that rebound. Keon can't get there. And here we go. Here's Springer defensively. Deep three. We got another foul, it looks like. Or a shot clock issue. Again, the shot clock issues, like, I feel like that only happens in the SEC. And it only happens when there are two teams that just don't know how to play offense, too. It's very funny. Again, if you're new to the channel, I know there's been a lot of new recent subscribers recently. Really good rotation. We'll get to this in a minute. But, again, I just want to point out this rotation. Again, just showing that off-ball awareness that Jaden Springer has. It's not Franz Wagner level, where Franz Wagner is just on a totally different planet compared to everybody else in terms of off-ball awareness. But, again, just showing that basic concept of tagging the roll man, right? So, again, you're going to see Tillman's sprinting towards the basket. Looks like he maybe has an open runway. No, because Jaden Springer's right there in his grill. And again, giving good defense for his size. Not much he can do there, but that's the best he can offer. So again, he's not going to be super versatile, but again, just that effort, that energy, that intensity, and those, like, just kind of like that instinct, right? To tag that roll man right there. Very advanced stuff. That's NBA basketball pretty much in a nutshell in terms of pick and roll defense. So, so for him to have that down and be comfortable doing that is something that I think is pretty encouraging. You can see right there, this is a really good play as well. Just watch him hustle. He's going to sprint back. And again, I don't even know. It just looks like Mark Smith loses the ball. But Springer with this hustle, right? Again, he's going to catch the ball and then throw it back. Again, effort, intensity. Never going to be a question with Springer. We'll see what he does here. Can't really create much there. But going back to my point about the SEC wasteland. So if you guys, I'll explain it for you guys who are new here. Basically, the SEC wasteland is when wherever we're watching a game that features two SEC teams, most of the time, not all, but most of the time, the games are just some of the clunkiest, the ugliest, sloppiest. The refs are always reviewing shit. The players are dribbling it off their shoes. There's so many just stoppages and weird foul calls and so that always happens in these SEC games, and so we call it the SEC wasteland here. That's just basically what that means. Usually it doesn't happen if there are two top 12 teams, but as we later would find out in the college season, these are two of the more fraudulent top 12 teams in the country. So that's just something to keep in mind. But that's the SEC wasteland for those of you who maybe are new here. I know the old people will probably know that just because I've mentioned it so often. I don't know if I've ever really defined it, though. Right here, good job by Springer. He's kind of pick dodging, right? He's going to go under this initial screen, I think. Or it's more of just a poorly executed hedge by Fulkerson. So Pons has to take this roll man right here. Let's see if he does. He doesn't, so Fulkerson has to get his ass back. Springer's kind of in a weird position, but overall, good contest. Again, similar right here to Usman Garuba, right? We talked about how, I'll pause it a little bit. Yeah, so right here, you can see Springer not allowing his legs to really come close to the shooter. Just getting that arm up there, even though we did see a call with PJ Tucker tonight in the finals where that kind of happened. But just avoiding the airspace of the shooter, I think is super important, for these defenders to understand, especially ones that are going to be defending a lot of three-point shooters, just because so many times they'll just get the slightest bump, and then these shooters in the NBA are so good at selling everything, right? It's going to be called a foul 9 times out of 10. So just having that understanding, I think, is, again, super encouraging for Jaden Springer. Defensively, and that's where, again, he's really going to shine, I think, early in his NBA career. Mentioned some fits for him in the first half. I talked about Atlanta being probably the most obvious one, right? I'm trying to think of teams in that range. Do the Clippers need him? No. Lakers maybe could use him, kind of just bolstering that perimeter defense, even though they have KCP. But just kind of getting some youthfulness in there. I'm trying to think of teams that are maybe in that 20 to 30 range. Houston could probably use him, right? Just because that cupboard's basically bare, right? Just a lot of those teams. And here we got Springer bringing the ball to the floor, not going to do much, going to set that down screen and then immediately into that post up. And again, I like the way he battles down here. Just kind of watch Springer here. I know he's not going to get the ball, but just embracing that contact, I think, is super important for him. And, just kind of bullying Xavier Pinson. He knows he's stronger than him, right? And he's just able to kind of just put his back into him and, kind of just disrupt Pinson's overall rhythm defensively. Tennessee doesn't really get him the ball there, but, again, just kind of embracing that contact, especially as a finisher, that's going to be big for him, I think. Got another turnover for Missouri. That's got to be a charge. Yep, this is the wasteland. So we got a charge call there. That's another thing, too. A bunch of those kind of charge calls happen in the wasteland, right? So, again, just be aware whenever we're doing an SEC game, especially ones that are, featuring, two 500-level tems. That's kind of where it starts. The one exception to the wasteland, though, I will say, is LSU, because they're just so fun to watch offensively. Other than that, though, pretty much the entire conference is just kind of a nightmare. Springer did a nice job kind of locking and trailing. I think he was guarding Pinson there and then grabbing that rebound. Mentioned it in the first half. I'll say it again in the second half. Just the rebounding with Springer, I think that's something that he definitely can be more effective with in the NBA. He wasn't a bad rebounder in college, he just wasn't put in a lot of positions to get rebounds, right? Because they have Yves Pons, they have John Fulkerson, right? They kind of control the glass. But Springer, because of his physicality, because of just his overall rugged toughness, he can be a solid rebounder. Right here, let's see if he breaks down that defender. Did he go off of one leg here? Let's see. So again, he's going to break down. It's like an okay handle, right? Doesn't really create a lot of space with it. Not a guy who's going to break you down off the dribble and get by you. Let's see what he does here. He actually kind of tried to finish off of 1 foot there. Good for him. Let's see what we got here. Free throws. Hope I'll go back and we could watch that full for him. And again, just watch how it just feels like there's like an extra little second in there. That's just kind of like the whole issue with it. Not very fluid. We'll watch the second one right here. And again, it just kind of looks like he's releasing it when his arm is perfectly straight. I don't know what it is, man. But yeah, you can tell that there's something really just not fully there, I would say. Even though it does go in 81% of the time from the free throw line. So right here, just another really nice job just dodging that screen. He's going to have to go through 2 of them, right? So this first one he gets around, gets a little bit of a bump, and then this second one, he just is able to dodge that, right? Kind of like a snake slipping through a tight area, right? Really nice shot from Springer right there. And again, boxing out Tillman, or not, that's not Tillman, excuse me. Boxing out the Missouri big man and then snagging that rebound with one hand. Just really impressive stuff. Again, the toughness, the energy, that's something that will be there from day one with Springer. You saw it on that possession perfectly right there. Dodging screens, boxing out, getting the rebound with one hand. And here he is on the other end. Not much going on offensively. Is there ever anything going on offensively for Tennessee? We got another foul here. And let's see. Oh, there's Cam Thomas. Shout out Cam Thomas. I like him a lot as a prospect. Just an absolute, all he does is shoot, and all he does is try and score. He gets fouled a shit ton. I do have a video on him on this channel. Videos on him, first and second half. If you guys are interested in that, check it out. We got more free throws here. What time is it? Oh, yeah, wow, okay. Never mind. So Springer is actually out for the remainder of the game here. So that'll end the video, actually. So, probably a good time to end. This is not going to get any prettier, I don't think, in the last 5 minutes. So, yeah, I think we saw the full package defensively from Springer in the second half. We saw him dot screens. We saw him box out. We saw him challenge bigger opponents. We saw him offer very good perimeter defense just in terms of, getting up in the grills of opposing guards. We saw him being active in the passing lane. So, again, he can do it all defensively given the fact that he's 6'4", right? Like, obviously, that's going to come with some natural limitations in terms of his overall upside and versatility. But I think for being 6'4" with a 6'7" wingspan, he's a very active defender. Might be the best 6'4" defender in the draft. Who knows? But, that's just kind of something. And then the offense, obviously, still kind of, working things out on that end. I think that's very clear. But who knows? Hopefully he goes to Atlanta at 20. I think that would be a perfect spot for him. But if not, the team that drafts him is getting a very hard-nosed perimeter defender with offensive skills that can be molded into something productive, I would say. So, with that, I will end the Jaden Springer video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Again, thank you so much for all of your continued support, and be on the lookout for a ton of videos because this is a sprint. Remember, we're trying to get to 50 before draft day, and right now I think this is the 23rd one that I've done. Just keep an eye out, have notifications on, do whatever you guys want to do. Comment, let me know what you think of these videos, any suggestions, any players you want to see sooner rather than later. Let me know. And yeah, thanks so much for watching and have a great night. Bye.